In the heart of Obalumo town, where the ancient baobab trees whispered secrets to the winds, stood a man who had watched centuries pass. His name was Omidire, and though he claimed to be 30, his eyes told a different story. Eyes that had seen kingdoms rise and fall, eyes that carried the weight of 666 years. Omidire lived in a small house at the edge of town, surrounded by whispers and speculation. No one had ever seen him sick, tired, or aging. Even the oldest elders in Obalumo swore he looked the same as he had decades ago. The market incident spread like wildfire through Obalumo. By morning, whispers filled the air, carried by the breeze that rustled the ancient trees. Children pointed at Omidire's house from a safe distance, while adults exchanged knowing glances. "Did you hear what happened yesterday?" Mama Yetunde asked the tailor as she adjusted her headscarf. "I heard. They say the boy saw something unnatural," the tailor replied, leaning closer. "What kind of man remains the same year after year? Not even a single gray hair." Omidire, unaware, or perhaps unconcerned about the growing rumors, continued his daily routine. At sunrise, he walked to the stream, a habit he'd kept for centuries. He stood by the water, staring at his reflection. The face that stared back was young, smooth, and unchanging. But Omidire hated what he saw. "Is this what you wanted?" a voice whispered behind him. Omidire didn't flinch. He knew the voice too well. It was the deity, Ekun-Aye, the dark force he had bargained with all those centuries ago. "What I wanted was freedom," Omidire replied, his voice steady but cold. "And freedom you shall have when your time comes," the voice hissed, fading into the morning mist. Omidire sighed. The curse was his alone to bear. No one else could understand the weight of immortality, the pain of watching everyone he loved wither and die. Tayo, the boy who had bumped into Omidire, couldn't stop thinking about that cold, lifeless touch. It haunted his dreams. He saw Omidire's face in the shadows, his ancient eyes boring into his soul. One evening, as his friends played by the stream, Tayo slipped away. He had a plan. "I'll find out who Omidire really is," he whispered to himself, clutching a small flashlight. He crept toward Omidire's house, heart pounding. The house stood in eerie silence, surrounded by overgrown shrubs and the faint scent of incense. Through a cracked window, Tayo saw a flickering light. Inside, Omidire sat, cross-legged, chanting in a language Tayo couldn't understand. On the floor before him was an array of strange items: a carved wooden mask, a bowl of dark liquid, and a single black feather. Tayo's breath caught. He ducked as Omidire suddenly turned toward the window, his piercing gaze scanning the darkness. "I know you're there," Omidire said calmly. Tayo froze. He felt an invisible force pulling him toward the door. Before he knew it, he was standing inside the house, trembling. "Curiosity can be dangerous," Omidire said, his voice low but not unkind. "Why are you here?" Tayo swallowed hard. I wanted to know the truth. Everyone says you're not like us, that you're something else." Omidire studied the boy, his expression unreadable. Finally, he nodded. "Sit down, and I'll tell you a story. But know this, once you hear it, there's no going back." Centuries ago, Omidire was not the enigmatic figure the town knew. He had been a simple hunter, living in a small village nestled in the forest. Life was hard, but he was content. That was until the drought came. Crops withered, rivers dried up, and hunger ravaged the land. Omidire's wife fell ill, and his newborn son grew weaker by the day. Desperate to save them, he wandered deep into the forest, seeking help from the spirits. That was when he met Ekun-Aye. The deity appeared as a shadow, shifting and twisting in the moonlight. It promised Omidire everything he desired: wealth, health, and eternal life. But at what cost? Omidire had asked. Ekun-Aye's laughter echoed through the trees. Your soul, mortal. When the time comes, it will belong to me. In return, you will live forever, untouched by age or disease. Blinded by desperation, Omidire agreed. The deal was struck, and true to the deity's word, his life transformed. His wife recovered, his son grew strong, and his village prospered. But as the years turned to decades, Omidire noticed the changes. While others aged and died, he remained the same. The villagers began to fear him, calling him a demon. His wife and son passed away, leaving him alone. You see, Tayo, Omidire said, his voice tinged with regret. Eternal life is not a blessing. It is a curse. Tayo's eyes were wide with shock. Can't you undo it? Omidire shook his head. The only way to break the curse is to defeat Ekun-Aye, but no one has ever outsmarted a deity. As the days passed, Tayo couldn't shake what he had learned. Omidire's story haunted him, and he found himself drawn back to the strange man's house. One evening, Omidire showed Tayo something he had never revealed to anyone. Rolling up his sleeve, he exposed a mark on his arm, a swirling black symbol that seemed to move like smoke under his skin. This is the mark of Ekun-Aye, Omidire explained. It binds me to the curse. As long as it exists, I cannot escape. Tayo's gaze lingered on the mark. What if I help you? Omidire raised an eyebrow. You're just a boy. What can you do against a deity? Tayo straightened his back, determination burning in his eyes. I'm not afraid. Omidire stared at him for a long moment before sighing. Very well, but know this. If you stand against Ekun-Aye, you may lose more than your life. To locate the Ekun-Aye, the vessel that bound Ekun-Aye's power to the mortal world, Tayo had to undergo a vision quest, a ritual that would connect him to the spiritual plane. Omidire prepared the ritual in his home, drawing intricate symbols on the floor and lighting incense made from rare herbs. This will not be easy, Omidire warned. The spirits may show you things you're not ready to see. Tayo nodded, determined. I'm ready. As the ritual began, Tayo closed his eyes, letting the rhythmic chants guide him into a trance. Suddenly, he found himself in a different world, a place of shifting landscapes and shimmering lights. He saw glimpses of the past, Omidire as a young hunter, Ekun-Aye offering the fateful bargain, and the creation of the Ekun-Aye. The vessel was crafted by a powerful priestess, hidden in a sacred grove guarded by ancient forces. The vision shifted, showing Tayo a path through the forest. He saw a tree with glowing roots and a pool of water reflecting the night sky. When Tayo awoke, he gasped, I know where it is. Guided by Tayo's vision, they ventured deep into the forest. The journey was perilous, with Ekun-Aye's presence growing stronger the closer they got. Shadows danced among the trees, and the air grew thick with tension. Stay close, Omidire instructed, his senses on high alert. Finally, they reached the sacred grove. It was exactly as Tayo had seen in his vision. A massive tree with glowing roots stood at the center, its branches stretching toward the heavens. At its base was a pool of water, perfectly still and reflecting the moonlight like a mirror. This is it, Tayo whispered, but as they approached, a voice echoed through the grove. You dare to defy me, Omidire. Ekun-Aye appeared, its shadowy form towering over them. The deity's presence was overwhelming, its anger palpable. You cannot destroy the Ekun-Aye, it snarled. It is bound to me as much as you are. Omidire stepped forward, determination in his eyes. Your time is over, Ekun-Aye. The cycle ends here. The ground trembled as Ekun-Aye unleashed its power, the shadows twisting and surging like waves. Omidire and Tayo stood their ground, the talisman glowing brighter with each step the deity took. Strike the vessel, Omidire shouted. It's the only way. Tayo ran toward the tree, his heart pounding. At its base, half buried in the earth, was the Ekun-Aye, a small, intricately carved vessel pulsing with dark energy. As Tayo reached for it, the shadows lashed out, knocking him back. Omidire leapt to his side, using the talisman to deflect the attack. "You cannot win," Ekun-Aye roared. "I am eternal." But Tayo refused to give up. With a burst of courage, he grabbed the vessel, feeling its dark energy surge through him. Summoning all his strength, he smashed it against the tree's roots. The vessel shattered, and a blinding light erupted from the grove. Ekun-Aye let out a deafening scream as its form began to dissolve, the curse unraveling with it. Omidire collapsed to the ground, his body racked with pain. The mark on his arm faded, and for the first time in centuries, he felt the weight of mortality. When the light faded, the grove was silent. Ekun-Aye was gone, and the air felt lighter, free from its oppressive presence. Omidire looked at Tayo, pride and gratitude in his eyes. "You did it, boy. You broke the curse." But Tayo noticed something different about Omidire. His once youthful face now showed lines of age, his hair streaked with gray. "What's happening to you?" Tayo asked. "The curse is lifted," Omidire said, a faint smile on his lips. "I am finally free." But freedom comes at a cost. Over the next few days, Omidire's age caught up with him, his body growing weaker. He passed away peacefully, surrounded by the people of Obalumo, who now saw him as a hero. Tayo, carrying the lessons he had learned, became the town's new storyteller, ensuring Omidire's tale would never be forgotten. And in the sacred grove, where the trees still stood, the wind whispered a single word: freedom. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, and comment for more unique stories.